Welcome to RidgeLife. Today we're going to make venison jerky two ways. The first way we're going to make it is the way we've made it before. It's sweet and peppered venison jerky, and it is so good. The second way we're going to make it is sweet and spicy. We're going to add some heat to this venison jerky. We've got 5 pounds of venison here today, 2.5 here, 2.5 here, and our recipe makes 2 to 2.5 pounds perfectly. When slicing your venison, you want to make sure you're getting 1/8 of an inch thick or thinner. Now this is perfectly, look how thin that is, guys. That is perfectly thin sliced venison. The ingredients today for our 2 types of venison jerky are ground black pepper, crushed red pepper, we've got chili powder, we've got apple cider vinegar with the mother. We've got some Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, I know I say that wrong. And then we've got some Dale's seasoning. Now, Dale's seasoning, you can find this in Walmart, you can find it online, but Dale's seasoning is a real key ingredient. We've got a black peppercorn grinder. That's going to give your pepper jerky that awesome flavor. We're also going to top it off with it. And we also have garlic powder, accent seasoning, curing salt. Now, curing salt is what's going to make your jerky have a long shelf life. Without it, it won't not last near as long. And for a smoky flavor, we've got a natural mesquite and a hickory smoke seasoning. And then for a sweetness, we've got light brown sugar. We're going to start off with a 1/4 cup of our vinegar. Again, get your 1/4 cup, pour it on in here, right on top of your venison. 1/4 cup. It's going to give that tang. That's going to help clear everything out. Now we're going to do a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Yes, I know I say that wrong. I think I do that just to make you all mad. So a 1/4 cup into there, 1/4 cup into there. Now we're going to add our 1/4 cup of Dale's fine seasoning. This stuff, man, it's good on burgers and all kinds of meats. Get a 1/4 cup into there, 1/4 cup into there. Now we're going to do a heaping 1/4 cup of our light brown sugar. Again, I want it to be a heaping, and you can adjust this for how sweet you want it. Here we go. Now a 1/4 heaping cup into this one also. Now we're at our curing salt. We're going to add a 1/3 teaspoon to each of these. You can add a little more, a little less, depending on how long you want to last and how shelf life you think. Now we're going to do a tablespoon of our dried garlic powder. You can add, again, more or less to taste for you. We'll add our tablespoon to our other jerky mix. Now we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of our black pepper. A little bit more to the pepper one, obviously. For our peppered jerky, we're going to use our hickory smoke. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of hickory smoke. For our sweet and spicy jerky, we're going to use natural mesquite flavor, 1 teaspoon. Now for our sweet and spicy jerky, we're going to add a tablespoon of crushed red pepper. Man, it's going to make us some fire to it. And also to our sweet and spicy, we're going to add a teaspoon of chili powder. Now to our peppered jerky, we're going to get some of our cracked peppercorn. Get on the medium coarse. Just get this all up in here. And then again, we're going to top it with this at the very end. That's all the ingredients for our sweet and peppered venison jerky and our sweet and spicy venison jerky. Now, if you want your spicy jerky even spicier, feel free to add any other ingredient you like to bring up the heat. Now it's time to mix up our jerky and our marinade. Now we're going to leave this in the refrigerator overnight, preferably. The longer the better, for the meat to absorb all those awesome ingredients you've added for the sweet and peppered and the sweet and spicy. We'll start with the sweet and peppered, just getting it all turned over. Again, we're going to get it all mixed in, get the powders to get all diluted and melted down and perfect and just, oh, it's gonna be so good. The smell, guys, if mixing of these, the vinegar with the Worcestershire, with the Dales and the garlic and the pepper, just so many awesome flavors. Now let's move over to our sweet and peppered. Oh, and all the pepper. This thing is going to be, it's going to be light you on fire, kind of not too hot like you know, Carolina Reaper or Ghost Pepper hot, but it's going to be got a nice kick to this jerky. Once you've got your jerky all mixed in with your marinade, you can cover it with plastic wrap, put it in the refrigerator. What I like to do is to get it into a large Ziploc bag, get in there. That way, every few hours, I can come in and knead it and turn it over and make sure that the marinade is getting into every little nook and cranny of that venison. Either way will work just fine. All right, let's start with our sweet and pepper. Get it all inside the Ziploc bag, and then we'll pour the marinade in and then get it all mixed up that last final time. Get it in the refrigerator. Okay, now we've got, now let's pour the marinade in. Oh yeah. Bring this up. I'm gonna get the air out. Now, we can mix this all up. Oh, that's getting every little piece of that meat down in the crevice and pore and every, just little last bit of it. Delicious. Let's do the same thing with our sweet and spicy. Get it all in the Ziploc bag. Then we'll get it all mixed up. Man, that pepper floating in there, that chili pepper, and the big crushed red pepper. There we go, we got that. Now we're gonna pour that on top. Get every last bit of it. There we go. Now pull this up. Get the air out of it. Again, this was about 2 pounds. This recipe's 1.5, 2.5 at the most. You may want to increase the liquids a little bit, but 2 pounds is perfect for the amounts I gave you. Again, you know, it's all to taste. If you don't like the vinegar as much, a little less vinegar. If you like more sweet, put a little more light brown sugar in there. Purely up to you. We'll get this air out. There we go. And now we're just gonna knead the sweet and spicy. Sweet and spicy. Oh, get it in every little, oh, just every part of it. There we go. Now it's time to put them in the refrigerator overnight, and tomorrow we'll get them in the dehydrator. We've had our jerky marinating overnight in the refrigerator, and we are ready to dehydrate. Before I put it in my dehydrator, I'm gonna put them on these oven sheets in the oven at the lowest setting, and ours is 170. I'd prefer 160, but ours doesn't go that low, for about 15 minutes. That's just to give a good disinfection before we get it in the dehydrator. Our dehydrator won't go up to 160 consistently. So in the oven for 15 minutes, then we'll put it out in the dehydrator and get the dehydrating process going. We've got those laid out nicely. Let's get them in the oven. And then we will set the kitchen timer for 15 minutes, and we will have our jerky disinfected and ready to dehydrate. We got our jerky out of the oven, disinfecting. It was in there for 15 minutes at 170, and now we're gonna put it on a paper towel, dry it out, and get it in our dehydrator. Now that we've got the jerky laid out on the paper towel, again, that's just to soak up any of the excess marinade and juices that came out while it was in the oven. I'm just gonna lightly pat just to get the excess juice off. I don't, you know, just save on that drying time in the dehydrator. Okay. Once you've got that, before we put the peppered jerky in, we're gonna put a little more of the cracked pepper, let it stick to the outside of it so you get that real good pepper jerky flavor. We've got 5 trays each for our dehydrator, and we're going to distribute them evenly. We're going to start with our pepper jerky. I'm going to get some coarse cracked pepper on there, get on the coarse setting so it sticks to it and is all tasty. Again, get it on there. There we go. Let's lay it on here. Now when you're laying it out on your dehydrator tray, you want to do it in a flat fashion. I really wasn't too worried about it flat on the paper towel there, but flat will allow it to dry evenly and get the air to all surface area points, and that way you don't have any wet, moist spots. Now that I've got the pepper all laid out, I'm going to put a little more cracked pepper on them one last time when they're on the trays. You know, I got them all flipped over. Get cracked pepper on the top. Do the same thing for each one of these. Cracked pepper makes them taste so delicious. We have our jerky flattened out and evenly distributed amongst 5 trays each. Now let's get it in the dehydrator. Let's load our dehydrator, get each one. I'm gonna have the peppered on top and spicy on the bottom. We've got our dehydrated loaded up with peppered on top, spicy on the bottom. I'm gonna turn the setting all the way to the top for meats. Ours goes up to, says 165. I've ran a thermometer through it and watched it cycle. Didn't quite reach that consistently, so it's gonna be fine for the long term. That's why I disinfected it in the oven. But we'll have it all the way up, 165, turn it on. Make sure everything comes on. I'll come back and make sure the heat element came on as well. And we're gonna let this go for 4 hours. And after 4 hours, we'll check it and make sure it's not moist anymore, but is still pliable. I've ran jerky through this before, so I know 4 hours can be fine. Some of those pieces were a little thicker, so we may end up going 5 hours up to 7 hours. You wanna make sure that it is dry enough. Now, here's one thing to note. If you cut your meat against the grain, it's going to be a lot more tender. It's going to fall apart. Your jerky's going to be really flaky. If you cut it with the grain longitudinally, it's going to be more chewy, more jerky, if you will. So it depends on how you like it. I cut both ways. We've had our jerky in the dehydrator for 4 hours, and I think it's ready. Let's go ahead and turn it off. We'll pull it out. Top one is the pepper jerky. Ooh, that looks so good. This is pepper jerky. We've got the peppered flakes all over it. Mmm. That is so good. We pick the pieces up and you can tell they start to crumble and break. They're still moist enough, they're going to be juicy. Of course, as they cool off, they're going to harden a little bit. So if you get them really, really hard when you pull them off and they're warm, they're going to be really, really hard later on. Again, if they start to squish and a little bit too much moisture, you want to keep going. So some of these thicker ones may need, see it splits, so that's good. But some of these thicker ones may need a little more time. But I'm pretty good with these. Let's check our spicy jerky. Oh yeah, and you see those big old spicy flakes on there? And it breaks when I pop it, look at that. Mmm. It's very tasty. A little spicier than the peppered. You know, peppered has the pepper flavor. Spicy is a little more spicy with the chili and the crushed red pepper. Not very hot though. I mean, if you're looking for a really spicy hot, you want to add some more hot seasoning to it though. But the chili powder and the crushed red pepper, for me, gives a really nice spicy flavor. Well, there you have it. RidgeLife's famous sweet and pepper jerky and sweet and spicy jerky. Make sure when you pull your jerky out off the dehydrator while it's still warm, if you put it in plastic bags, you keep the bags open until everything's cooled off. You don't want any kind of moisture condensation building up in that bag with your dry jerky. I just love these recipes. I've done the sweet and peppered before, and it turns out great every time. And it's kind of like a Jack Link's pepper jerky. Of course, this is a little bit sweeter and not quite as peppered as the Jack Link's, but I love that Dale's mixed with that apple cider vinegar and the light brown sugar. Just a delicious recipe. Now over here for the sweet and spicy. This is my first time doing the sweet and spicy, and I think it could have been a little bit spicier, but this is really good. I mean, it's a different flavor than the sweet peppered, but the sweet spicy with all that extra chili powder and the crushed red pepper, so delicious. I can almost tell you right now, these bags of jerky are not going to last very long, so we need to get out there on the ridge, harvest some more deer for some more venison jerky. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to RidgeLife, hit the notification bell, hit the thumbs up if you like this video. We do all kinds of things like this outdoor wild game cooking and recipes. We do hunting, fishing, trapping. We've got livestock, chickens, rabbits, tractors, 4x4s, side-by-sides, all kinds of cool things. So make sure you hit the notification bell to be notified anytime a new video comes out. Well, I've got a lot of jerky to eat, so until next time, I hope everyone has a blessed day and go Ridge Life.